It was my ex-girlfriend's birthday present to me. I did break down crying in the Uber on the way there.
Because she broke up with you?
But yeah, that's my first game. But we talk about anything else besides my IRL basketball skill set.
So how'd you and your ex-girlfriend break up?
Bro!
Was it because you were bad at basketball?
Yeah.
Yes! Yes, it was! You guys came in here with the haymakers today. What's going on, guys? Mike here, and today we're going to talk about Lonzo Ball, who is
We have to start off with it's laced up.
What?
Why don't we just start off with...
Oh, sorry. I thought I thought I was you for a second. My bad. I was about to discuss Lonzo Ball being the next coming of Steph Curry, 50-inch vertical. What's going on, guys? Your boy TheFlightMike here, and I'm here with
GetLikeCoop.
Mike Korzemba.
Honestly, guys, I don't know if we can show this on the pod, but my Apple Watch has been on me for the past 4 days. I haven't taken it off, and I don't know if this is healthy. We want to do a bonus giveaway for Apple Podcast listeners for people who leave us a 5-star review.
We're going to pick one of those reviews to win $100 each and every week. We're going to announce the winners on our community tab, and this way we can start giving back to you guys as soon as possible.
Yep, we are very grateful for you guys. You guys have been showing a lot of love on the podcast. We want to give back as much as possible, and we want to, start that Apple Podcast grind because we are there too, as well as we are on Spotify. So if you want to follow there, that'd be awesome as well.
Oh, no, that's called a watch tan. Apparently, according to my Gen Z sister, that's supposed to be a flex, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, apparently a watch tan's
looks like a freaking rash to me.
So guys, it's been a minute. How have you guys been doing? Korzemba, thank you for joining us. You're coming off of the second vaccine, I remember.
Yeah, are we allowed to say that word? But yeah, second shot. The first one didn't affect me. Thought I was gonna be going strong. Me and my fiance both got them. We woke up. Saturday was fine. We got them in the afternoon on Saturday. Then Sunday, woke up. It was 3 p.m. We were supposed to go to Mother's Day at 11 a.m. and we just slept. And it felt like poison was secreting throughout my body. And yeah, I haven't felt still haven't felt great.
Did you just call the vaccine poison?
Some people would argue that it is poison. So
yeah, I don't.
All right, it felt like my body felt
like poison.
It felt like it was hurting.
You couldn't describe that in another way. It felt like poison.
All right, sorry. It felt like cotton candy in my body.
Cotton candy,
which doesn't belong there.
Okay, that's the weirdest analogy, but screw it.
It hurt. Ah!
Are you all right?
My seat's falling. All right. I'm a little out of it. I haven't talked to the public, to anyone in days.
Yeah, I was actually texting Tom yesterday, and I was like, yeah, is Korzemba mad at me because we're talking in the group chat, he's not answering, and it wasn't until then I found out that you got the vaccine. I'm glad you're not mad at me though.
No, not mad at you. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, I saw the text of you. You were like, is everything good? I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just, sleeping.
There still is the chance that this is an elaborate act and he was mad at you / is mad at you. But if we're giving him the benefit of the doubt, hey.
I've got a clammy forehead.
So, guys, it's been a nice little week, and there's a decent amount of NBA news that we got within the past 48 hours, which is pretty sick because that's perfect timing for us to discuss. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. I'm sure you guys heard the unfortunate news in regards to Jaylen Brown. He's out with a wrist injury for the remainder of the season being the playoffs as well. So the Boston Celtics season is essentially over. Where do the Celtics go from here?
Well, I don't know. That's tough. There's never a good time to get hurt, but right before the playoffs has to be one of the absolute worst times to get hurt. If you're looking for the sunny side of things, I guess you could say, hey, at least we're going to see what Tatum really is capable of without Brown in a playoff environment. And maybe we'll see some of those other guys that they've needed to step up step up, but ultimately, like, I am definitely worried as a Boston Celtics fan.
I mean, hypothetically, you're as a Celtics fan.
Yeah, like hypothetically, like if I was a Celtics fan, I'm worried, man. It is what it is.
You know what worried me watching the Celtics get destroyed by the Chicago Bulls? Chicago Bulls, it's looking like a little too late. We almost squeaked into the playoffs. I mean, maybe if Zach LaVine didn't get cursed and got in the super strain of whatever is floating around these days. But for the Boston Celtics, I mean, we didn't have high hopes really going into this playoffs for this team. We weren't expecting much. Now, are we expecting them to become the first ever, with these new set of play-in rules, the first ever team to be bounced in the play-in game as a 7 or an 8 seed? Because looks very possible to me. Right now, as it stands, they would play the Hornets in round 1.
Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X.
And then the winner of the Pacers and Wizards in round 2, if they lost to the Hornets.
Hornets round 1 is rough.
So if they lost to the Hornets, let's say they played the Wizards.
I think they could actually beat the Hornets. As much as I love the Hornets and as fun as they are to watch, there's a ton of experience on the Boston Celtics. Well, Jason Tatum at least has a ton of experience in the playoffs. So I do think he'll step up in that big moment. I do typically whenever a rookie goes into a situation like that, LaMelo Ball or, Devontae Graham's in his second year. Miles Bridges is fairly young as well. Maybe Scary Terry steps up because or Gordon Hayward, because they used to be former Celtics and maybe they have an extra edge because they're going up against their former team. But I personally think that I'm not going to really expect much from like LaMelo Ball. And I do think Jason Tatum might come out with a little bit of an extra edge. But I think they're either getting bounced in the play-in or they're going to get bounced in the first round, without a doubt. And we've had concerns about them even before Jaylen Brown got injured.
That's true. So just to poke a little fun at you, Mike, who do you think on the Celtics has experience outside of Jason Tatum?
Glad I'm being avoided from these attacks.
Looks like you came in targeting me today. Well, there's
Curious.
There's Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker?
I mean, hold on. Last year, Kemba Walker. Bear in mind, the Celtics made a pretty nasty playoff run literally just 7 months ago.
So we're calling Kemba Walker a playoff vet? Is that fair?
So I consider any player that has made it to like the conference finals as like they've been on a team that's had to make a deep run. I wouldn't say like a hardcore veteran because that was the first time Kemba Walker like made it all the way there, but he was part of a very deep run, and it's really hard to make it to the conference finals. But in addition to that, you have Marcus Smart made it to the conference finals.
You also got
twice.
Tristan Thompson, right? He's still a Celtic, right?
Tristan Thompson. And a player that I, for some reason, have like this crush on that I'm always like rooting for no matter what, Jabari Parker, who has like no experience, but shout out to him.
Has he been playing?
What has caused this crush?
Has he been playing? Jabari?
Jabari.
He got a DNP last game.
Yeah, he's been playing like 11 minutes per game over the 8 games that he's played.
So maybe with Brown out, we see more Jabari Parker?
Ooh, that's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, for Mike's dreams, okay, that might work out. I don't think it's working out for the Celtics. My worry for the Celtics, I would say, is, which I feel like the Celtics have, pretty like savvy fans, but I would be worried that the front office or whatever goes, Jaylen Brown was out, like, don't overreact. Don't overreact to this first round loss. That's something I'd be a little concerned about because, like we said, the Celtics have been underachieving all season. but this kind of gives them like an excuse right at the end of the year. Like, oh, well, we didn't have our full roster. We didn't have our second best player. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely think they're getting bounced first round at the latest, but also I've got to say now building with Jaylen Brown injured, that makes things a lot more difficult. Like, where do they go from now? Where would you guys, let's just play it out. Let's say Celtics, I mean, I don't think it really matters if there's any difference. They lose in the first round, they lose in the playing game. Where would you try to go from there?
Yikes.
So,
yeah, it's tough.
I mean, if I was Danny Ainge, it really depends on how free agency like plays out. Danny Ainge has an ace in his pocket to gain favor with his fans, like Boston Celtics fans, that he doesn't play for some reason. Like, if Boston Celtic fans are upset, I literally saw on my Twitter timeline, hey, Jaylen Brown going out sucks. The only thing that can make this feel better is if we signed Isaiah Thomas again. And, you know, Isaiah Thomas is a veteran minimum player at this point.
No, you think that's gonna? I mean, that's not.
I don't think that's gonna help
off
them.
Season.
I don't think that's like a big off-season splash that they're gonna make, but I do think that's gonna be something that would hype up Boston Celtic fans, you know, unnecessarily.
You know who needs Isaiah Thomas?
Who?
I don't think anyone.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
We tried that and it worked decently, but we're in a different place now.
You saw his tweet, right?
Have you seen Isaiah Thomas on Twitter, actually?
Bro, his last team was the Pelicans. I saw him play.
I'm like feeling bad for him at this point. Like you know, wait, oh my God.
Why are you feeling bad for him?
What? Dude, he's out here just trying to. I mean, I don't want to use the word beg, but he's kind of begging for a spot, like for his one last chance.
I only saw him do that for the Lakers. Did he do that for somebody else?
He's kind of been doing that for a while now. He's been like saying like he like needs a chance. You know, it's been like a little bit too much. Where I'd be like, okay, you know, calm it down a little bit. But you know, I do of course feel bad for him too, though, because he was on top of the basketball world, then injuries brought him down, and he was one of those guys that came back for the playoffs a little early, and then that ended up, I guess, hurting him. I'm not sure how much that hurt him long-term forever, because you would think at this point, you know, he would have recovered somewhat. I don't know. Was that, when he came back too early for the playoffs, did that cost him his career, basically? Because I know that used to happen. Like, that happened. You know what? With, like, Brandon Roy came back too early, and that like definitely affected him. Like, has that been kind of overblown with Isaiah Thomas, or is that true that like him coming back too early for the Celtics ruined him?
That's a good question. I actually don't think that's talked about enough, to be honest, because it's perceived as this like huge sacrifice when Isaiah Thomas's sister died in a car accident in the 2017 playoffs, and then he comes back and like absolutely demolish isn't even the right word. I'd like to say absolutely obliterate and decimate to the point of irrelevance, at least towards the Chicago Bulls, because the Celtics would defeat the Bulls 4-2. And after completely decimating the Chicago Bulls, emphasis on the word decimating, he would attend her funeral, then would go to the conference semifinals, drop 33. Like, it looks like he's been having good games. Then he would score 53 against the Washington Wizards in game 2. Then he would score it looks like for the most part he had really good games throughout his entire postseason. And once the Celtics went down to the Cavaliers 2-0, Isaiah Thomas just sat out for the rest of the season. I mean, the rest of the postseason. So I do think there's a chance that
it's because of his hip. That was the whole thing. He was playing on a hurt hip. It wasn't just his sister, which obviously that's a huge emotional weight. You know, I can't believe that. You know, it's amazing that he came back and played with that. That was so horrible. But no, yeah, his hip was hurt as well, and there was like rumors that he was like playing on it and everything, and that's why if you look at the Basketball Reference game logs, he only played the first 2 games of that Cleveland series. They got smoked. He only had 2 points in a game 2 loss, and then he sat out for the last 3 games, and he never played on the Celtics again. Then he got traded to the Cavs that offseason for Kyrie.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been the
my
same
next
since.
question.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if it's the hip though. That's all I wanted to say. Was playing in the playoffs. Did that hip injury? Because like he has not been the same player, and the drop off was dramatic. Like remember in 2017, he averaged 29 points per game that regular season. He was in consideration for the MVP. I mean, he wasn't ever going to win it, but he was like one of the names that was thrown out there in the top like 5 to 7 guys. And so you have a guy averaging 29 and 6 one year at the age of 27, and then boom, next year he averages 15.2 on 37% shooting, and he only gets worse from there. So was it the hip? I guess it was.
A very popular narrative is, and I've seen this so many times, is people claim that Danny Ainge ruined Isaiah Thomas's career. So what do you guys think of that statement?
All right. So the reason that Isaiah Thomas, I guess, blames Danny Ainge, and I guess the Celtics in general here, especially their medical staff, which, you know, the medical staff on teams basically remains in the dark. I would say you never hear their names really. You never hear them. Like, yeah, exactly. We hear Danny Ainge getting blamed. But so apparently, Isaiah Thomas says that the Boston Celtics medical staff gave him misleading information regarding his hip injury. He says, if I went back and could do it again, I would have sat out the playoffs because I would have been playing right now. I would have been 100% healthy. He said, basically, when it's all said and done, he said that they gave him injury about his hip, saying like, oh, you're going to be good to come back. You're not going to hurt it anymore. And that wasn't the case. He came back. He hurt it even more. And now he's never been the same. And he was devastated by that because he was like, why would you lie to me? Of course, that's his like own career, his own money, his own everything. But it's also like he feels like he gave everything to the city of Boston. You know, he came back after his sister. He came back after everything. And for them to lie to him, that's why he, you know, feels like they completely betrayed him. And that's given Danny Ainge such a bad reputation around the NBA amongst the players.
So what's your opinion on that?
I mean, it's from everything. I feel like it's kind of it's hard to tell because Danny Ainge isn't going to come back and defend himself here, right? Like this is kind of a no like win situation for him. Like he just kind of just has to let Isaiah say whatever he was going to say. I feel like if he tried to defend himself, it's one of those situations where you put that like whole situation, you give it more of a larger spectrum, more of a national broadcast, and Danny Ainge probably wouldn't have he would not have looked good no matter what. Isaiah would have just said like, oh, I shouldn't have played, and Danny would have been like, oh yeah, no, you were fine. Like it just wouldn't have looked good. So I don't know. I mean, it was really Isaiah Thomas's word against everyone else's here, and Isaiah has recently like reached back out to the Celtics and is like, hey guys, like I know you could use me for the playoffs. So it looks like the bad blood there is at least gone. But I mean, the stats do like, no matter what happened, no matter what, like Isaiah should not have been playing on that hip, I guess, because if you just look at his stats, like he's not the same player. He just has not been as mobile. So whether he got some bad advice or not, he shouldn't have been playing.
And also like, just as a counter argument, first, I see Danny Ainge's side in this thing. You know, like if you have a player that clearly is going to be going down the drain and you have an opportunity to acquire a star like Kyrie Irving and improve the team that dramatically, you need to jump on that opportunity, even though it didn't end up working out. But on top of that, in Isaiah Thomas's case, he completely mismanaged, like he fumbled his own bag. And I hate to say this because I really love his story. I love his rise to the top. I remember watching Korzemba's video on it many years ago when he was still like crushing it during the 2017 season. It's a wonderful story how Mr. Irrelevant did what he was able to do. But the thing is, if he knew his hip was that bad, he shouldn't have played the year after. Even if there was pressure from LeBron James to come back, He should have said, I'm out for the season. I need to make sure my hip is right. And then he should have cashed in and got at least a 1-year max prove it deal, or, a 2-year max or something like that. And he would have been offered that. Some team would have paid him that amount of money if he chose to sit out, but he didn't.
Unfortunately, he kind of set himself up to be the cautionary tale when it comes to this kind of situation, because he claims he came back too early for the playoffs. Okay. And then he also immediately got traded by that same team that he came back and, put his own health. He put his health second. He put the team first there. He immediately got traded there. So what does that teach everyone involved? Teaches everyone, put your own health first. These guys, these teams, you could be expandable. No matter who you are, like, they could trade you that offseason, which they did to Isaiah Thomas. And it also taught teams themselves, I would say, let's cool it. Let's not be risking players' long-term health, no matter what, basically, when it comes to the playoffs. I don't think we've really seen anything like that recently where a team has risked their guys' health, right? Isaiah's kind of in the last one. Because I know it happened before plenty. Like, you've got Brandon Roy, you've got...
Well, there's been some arguments with Kevin Durant and the Warriors.
Yeah, that he shouldn't have played.
I'll always hate on Kevin Durant for the decision to go to the Warriors, and I think the way he conducts himself on social media is really irritating. But I think his premature return in the NBA Finals should be the reason why, like, Warriors fans show him tremendous amounts of love, because that man literally put his Achilles on the line to try to win one more championship for that organization. It didn't work out, but I felt like, I don't know, I feel like Kevin Durant's situation was very similar to Isaiah Thomas's situation, only if Kevin Durant found himself in a scenario where he'd tear his Achilles or suffer some sort of career-ending injury, which on paper, by the way, he did, and teams didn't care. They still took a chance because it was Kevin Durant. He's fine. He's had multiple max contracts. He's won multiple championships. He's won an MVP. He's had a pretty, compared to like most NBA players, compared to most NBA All-Stars of the past, Kevin Durant has had a pretty decorated career, even if he decided to retire right now. So in that scenario, I understand taking the risk that he did to win a NBA championship again. But in Isaiah Thomas's situation, you haven't earned a max contract yet. You're literally almost there. And I don't know, I think weighing out the risk reward in that scenario, I'm sure he felt like he was the face of the Celtics at the time. Because I remember when they made a big roster transaction that offseason. I think it was when they signed Gordon Hayward. There was like a video of him dancing like excitedly because he thought that, hey, Gordon Hayward's for me. And then eventually he would get traded. But it's really unfortunate what happened to him at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like, the thing is, he was, second round pick. He had his whole just underlooked wherever he went, basically. Now finally he's on the Celtics. His entire life has basically been like, confirmed for him, where all of his every single one of his doubts has been put to rest. He's averaging 29 a game. He is, like you said, the face of the Celtics, one of the NBA's top franchises when it comes to championships and all that. And yeah, probably just like didn't go to his head in a bad way, but went to like where he was like, yeah, this is my team. These are my guys. I'm going to come back. I'm going to, try to lead us through these playoffs. Like, I earned the right to be the guy that's able to do this. And then unfortunately, it just kind of backfired in a major way where now he can't even get an NBA contract.
Cautionary tale, man. Honestly, like, very low key. Last year, he averaged a decent amount of points per game for the Wizards. He wasn't that bad, like 40% shooting, 23 minutes per game, 12 points per game. I feel like he should at least be on a roster, but I don't know. He did well for the Wizards last year, though. Yeah,
especially because it's at this point, it seems like all he's really asking for is kind of a shot, but also like he's telling teams he can just be a role model in the locker room. So what's the harm?
Speaking of the Wizards, there has been a lot of awesomeness and drama at the same time going on for the Washington Wizards. Awesomeness in terms of Russell Westbrook did something amazing the other day, passing Oscar Robertson for the most triple doubles of all time, which is an insane feat. I personally have a lot of respect for Russ because I do think he is carving his own niche. I perceive him as someone that isn't really chasing a championship and he's just trying to validate himself through his own accolades, which good on Russ. But in addition to that, did you guys see what happened between Kent Bazemore and Bradley Beal on Twitter?
Yeah. Are you gonna go ahead and describe that and explain it?
So first, there's a clip of Kent Bazemore being interviewed, and the clip pretty much shows Kent Bazemore taking a shot at Bradley Beal because Kent Bazemore's on the same team as Steph Curry. He says,
I've got the quote right here. He says 49 points in 29 minutes. That's unreal. We got guys hurting hamstrings to keep up.
If you see the interview, it's a little bit more cringy than that. He goes,
yeah.
Then we got guys hurting hamstrings trying to keep up. And then pause, very awkward pause. He has this goofy smile on his face. And then he looks into the camera. He's like, so y'all got to do some research on that. You know what I mean? You see what I did there? Kind of that was the vibe. Trying to take a dig at Bradley Beal because Bradley Beal is currently second in the scoring race. He's out with a hamstring injury. Steph Curry has a marginal lead over him. And Bradley Beal didn't like this at all. Him and his wife kind of tag teamed Kent Bazemore while Kent Bazemore was still in a game last night. It was very, very entertaining.
Oh no. Kent Bazemore played the I guess you can't take a joke anymore. Oh.
I mean,
it's a bad joke.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're Bradley Beal, how do you let a guy like Kent Bazemore get into your head? It's Kent freaking Bazemore.
That's a messed up comment, bro. You can't talk about people getting hurt and stuff in these type of situations, If it was just a dig, even then, you're right, it's Kent Bazemore. That adds to the fire, but you can't bring up injuries and all that stuff in these situations.
But Bradley Beal's responses aren't about the injury. They're talking about, it seems like Bradley Beal is very, very annoyed that Kent Bazemore is putting it out there that Bradley Beal is trying to beat Steph Curry in the scoring race. Bradley Beal wrote in a tweet, "You don't know why I go out there and play, and it damn sure ain't for another man's approval. You a straight lame. It's funny you say that because your man's admittedly checking my numbers before the game, but I'm chasing." See? So Bradley Beal's pissed that Kent Bazemore is alluding to the fact that Bradley Beal is checking Steph Curry's numbers and trying to outdo Steph Curry.
He kind of took a shot at Steph Curry there because apparently Steph Curry, and I don't know how true this is, we have to pull this up, but according to Bradley Beal, Yamans is referring to Steph Curry, apparently checked Bradley Beal's numbers and is trying to one-up Bradley Beal. So this kind of has shades of when Shaq and David Robinson were in a race for the scoring title and David Robinson dropped 77 points. I think, was it 77 points?
It's just 70.
Just 70. He dropped 70 points in one of his final games so he could win the scoring title. Kind of slight tones of that. But
yeah.
Well, to be fair, I think Bradley Beal is right. I don't think he's necessarily doing what he's doing for the approval of everybody around him. And Kent Bazemore is not the guy to check him, even if that was his motive. Again, it's Kent Bazemore here.
So yeah, I don't think this is this warrants 4 tweets and your wife coming in and getting involved and jumping on the bandwagon.
Wait, what did the wife say?
Okay, well, Bradley Beal's wife is involved with whatever he does, so
yeah,
it's kind of awesome she comes to his defense.
Oh no, definitely. But I'm saying
people did not say the same thing about Steph Curry's wife. I'm just saying, double standard.
For those people, not me.
I see what
people
you did there.
Ripping. But we're ripping at the time.
Yeah, like, and don't get it twisted. Like, I think Bradley Beal's wife had some great like shots. She mentioned how like Kent Bazemore's going to be busy chasing like 8 points for the entire game, stuff like that. But I don't think if you're Bradley Beal, if you're putting out 4 tweets and your wife is tweeting about it, and it's consuming your night because he went on like a brief like tirade, then the next morning you go on First Take and you talk about it again. In my head, Kent Bazemore won. Like, he's living in your head.
No. I think Bradley Beal is embellishing this a bit also. Because, I mean, come on. Like, people have been talking about the Wizards a lot, but we've really been talking about Russell Westbrook for the most part. So this is a chance for Bradley Beal to, get some love in that spotlight.
Yeah, so going head to head against a role player on Twitter is a way to get.
Listen, I gotta agree. Wait, I could see both sides here. I could see Bradley Beal, liking the fact that he's finally got some media attention here because he has been crushing it this season.
He's
but
been
everyone
destroying it.
Yeah, like
nobody's been talking about it.
He's been a monster, and anyone whenever we bring up the Wizards, it's about Russ. It's either about how Russ struggled or it's about how Russ did well, or so. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but also this, I'm with Mike where it's like this. I don't know if this is the battle you choose. I don't know if this is what the fight to bring you out there.
Dude, it is Kent
Bazemore. Yeah, but it's Kent Bazemore.
But look, as a basketball player, when I'm hooping, I don't know, this might just be me. And say I'm crushing it. Say I'm scoring all our team's points. And then the worst player on the other team says something to me. That's insult to injury. Like, no, but you're talking to me? Like, no, oh yeah, I'm about to destroy you.
Exactly. You're right. You'd be like, this guy's talking to me? Like, you just be immediately.
Yeah, no, but you would dismiss. Sometimes you gotta put people in. No, you gotta let people know too. So that's fine.
That's fine. But you would let him know. You would let him know either just more silently, or you would.
No, why would I be silent about it if he wasn't silent?
You would not be doing 4 tweets, going on a talk show. I agree.
Bro, I agree. He freaking zoomed on First Take. It's not like he's flew out to ESPN.
All right. Well, you know what? All right. Well, it's still his own time. But regardless, my whole opinion. This is my final opinion. Is I think Bradley Beal was jumping at the bit to finally be in the national spotlight some more. I agree. I don't think he took the best fight or situation for it. However, I also think that Kent Bazemore was not prepared for this at all and wishes he could take those words back. From everything I see from Kent Bazemore, it looks like he's like, I wish I was not a part of this fight. Like, I was just trying to make a joke. Like, relax. Bradley Beal came at him much harder than he ever thought he would.
Yeah. Crappy joke, involved an injury, involved assuming things about Beal that may or may not be true. Just was a mess all around. Didn't need to say it. Not mad at Beal.
I wouldn't exactly say he assumed anything about Beal. I would say crappy injury for the joke, but he just said trying to keep up.
He said trying. We don't know that Beal's actively going out there and trying to keep up. That's assuming. We don't. I'm not Bradley Beal, so I'm not going to say he is or isn't.
I think in Kent Bazemore's head, even he didn't expect Bradley Beal to care about.
He didn't
what
at
he
all.
Said.
Well, Bradley Beal's pretty chill, so I could see that. Yeah.
This is actually pretty shocking in general, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know why this set him off so much.
This is the equivalent of, and this reminds me of a YouTube story of mine that's really personal to me. About a year and a half ago, when things were starting to finally look up for me after a decade of trying to put in work on the platform, my channel was taking off, and some guy tweeted at me saying, "TheFlightMike, I have a question. How come during the middle of the NBA playoffs and the NBA offseason, your videos get 300,000 views per, but during the stretch of in between the regular season, right before it starts, during a time where no one's talking about basketball pretty much, your videos get about 50,000 views. You're view botting, So...
And that was true. And you've been exposed, and I'm glad we can finally talk
exposed.
about it.
So in my head, I'm okay, I could explain to this guy that hey, basketball, not a lot of people are talking about it right now. I'm not even thinking about it as much right now because it's a time that we're not getting it as much. So as a result, people don't really care about it as much. But in my head, I'm look, even if I do respond to this guy, he's out there just to get a reaction out of me. And like that's what Kent Bazemore was trying to do with Bradley
all
Beal
due respect,
here.
completely different situations. That's like, that's like a fan saying something to Bradley Beal, right? Imagine if another YouTuber as big as you, not as big as you, but maybe, you know, a little smaller than you came at you. That's a more comparable situation.
So he was a YouTuber with like 700 subscribers or like 1,000 subscribers. He did like Call of Duty content, if I remember.
Yeah, and that's out of your realm. Like,
yeah. So I was actually trying to explain to him. I'm like, hey, like, you know, currently like this is these topics aren't like as popular right now. I don't like to force content, so I'm waiting for things to like pop again, and I'll come back and I'll talk about it, and that's when people care about it the most. And in the meantime, I usually work on other channels. And he decided to take a different route. That's when he decided to like take personal attacks on how I run my channels. He thought it was really quote unquote desperate that I had multiple channels. And at the end of the day, I was right. You know, he was just trying to get a reaction out of me. And I think in this case, Kent Bazemore is the smaller YouTuber. And Bradley Beal, I don't want to say I'm Bradley Beal, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, completely
you are.
different situations.
You also
completely different situations.
Speaking of YouTube, guys, we've done
moves on.
I mean, do you have something? Do you have something to add? My bad.
I want to add something. I want to add something too, and
really, we could totally transition though. We could totally like.
I just want to say one thing. Who are we to judge how Bradley Beal feels about the situation, man? I'm glad Beal did whatever he felt was necessary. At the end of the day, he's the one in the situation. At the end of the day, he's the one that got insulted. You know, kudos to Bradley Beal for handling it however he wanted to handle it. You go.
I'll say, you know what? I'll say we are here to completely judge that. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's
every
what
single
we
time
do.
Kevin Durant,
No.
Every single time Kevin Durant
No,
jumps
you're
on-
here to judge that. I haven't judged
God.
him one bit. I haven't judged
Well, you know
him
what?
one bit.
I will judge NBA players for overreacting on Twitter and
In your
overreacting.
opinion, in Mike Korzemba's opinion, Bradley
Yes,
Beal
I will.
overreacted.
I mean, look at it. He freaking went on a tirade, and it looked like Kent Bazemore didn't even want it. Like, you know, Kent Bazemore was just like, I wish I could take this back, basically.
You take it back. What's stopping him? Say, my bad. I'm sorry. Apologize. Move on. Didn't see that happen.
I'm judging him, but in a way that like kind of compliments the guy. I think this isn't worth your time. You're Bradley freaking Beal. You know, you earn max contract money. You're like the face of the Washington Wizards. Yeah, if you want media attention, go call out one of the top players in the NBA. Don't get into Twitter beefs with Kent freaking Bazemore. So like just brush your shoulders off and like move on. Don't go on First Take and discuss it even more. So I don't know. I think he should have handled it differently.
I think people are blowing this up bigger.
Well, I don't think people are blowing this up. Bradley Beal blew this up. Bradley Beal made this into this giant thing. This could have just been a passing comment. If this happened to like freaking Kobe would have been like, who is Kent Bazemore? That's his response. That would have been his response.
Or Kobe would have mentally destroyed him. What are we talking about?
Yeah, like on the court or whatever. He wouldn't have went to Twitter and started typing a bunch of stuff.
Kobe wasn't really that big into social media, so also not a fair comparison. We're in 2021.
No. Regardless of anything, yeah, Bradley Beal needs to chill. Wasn't that big of a deal.
People trash talked Kobe, and Kobe made him pay. And he didn't.
Oh yeah. Kobe for sure made people pay.
Yeah, this would have been. You know what? This would have been nice. Like, this would have been nice if Bradley Beal had just been like a one comment thing. Then the next time he played Kent Bazemore, torched him real quick.
Like,
I mean, he's going to do that. That's going to happen regardless. So,
like, Kobe was always slick about the way he like threw shade at people. I think one of my favorite interviews that just pops into my mind is he wins his final championship, and a reporter asks him, Kobe, you won championship number 5 in a hard-fought Game 7 against the Boston Celtics. What does this mean to you? And like he just looks at the reporter. He has like this like, you know, slick, goofy, Mamba-like smile on his face. Probably one of my favorite interviews of all time. And like looks with a dead serious face and says, it means I got more than Shaq. And that's it. Like, that's the way he should operate. That's the way Bradley Beal should operate. And again, I shouldn't tell people how to act. I just think
there you go.
Bradley Beal. She should operate.
There you go.
Right. I'm not gonna say he should operate that way. I'm just gonna say that, you know, I felt like what he did was overblown. I'm not telling him what he should or should not do, but I'm just saying Felt like he went too far.
All right, it happened. It's done. Next topic, Mike.
So I brought up YouTube a little bit, and Coop and my YouTube stories are a little bit intertwined. I don't know much about Mike Korzemba's YouTube story, and I never I think I admitted this to you about like 2 or 3 years ago, or like 4 years ago when we went to the NBA Live event. You were like one of my earliest influences for jumping into NBA content. So, and I consider you to be like one of the first to do this type of content. So how did you get the idea to create NBA videos? How'd you start?
Well, thank you for that, one. But two, so I was in college and I had this, sketch comedy channel that is out there right now, but it's not out there. Every video is privated. I'm the only one with the password, and the only people that have seen these videos recently is my fiance. That's it.
We gotta totally
there's
react
like
to
literally
these.
like 50 sketch comedy videos that are all just right there, like fully made videos that I posted for an entire year, and they are so bad. Yeah, Tom has seen them because Tom is in some of them. But regardless, they're so bad. And I did that like my senior year of college. And luckily, I just stopped doing that. I was like, there's no real future here. I'm not that funny at all, especially sketch. Like, I give so much credit to actors now because I'm like, I know how hard it is to act at all. Like, even in this stupid sketch comedy thing for like a 4-minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
But
and writers, especially writers, maybe more than actors.
It's so hard both ways. But so anyway, my brother was like, oh, you like YouTube, you love 2K. Why don't you try playing 2K on YouTube? I was like, oh, and I researched the community. I saw guys like Jesser. I saw guys like Cash, like LNU at the time.
TheFlightMike.
Nick the Bulls fan.
TheFlightMike.
I don't know if I saw Mike back then.
What
anyway,
are you doing?
Anyway,
I threw a lob.
What are you like? What?
But anyway, were you playing 2K16?
Was I playing 2K16?
All right. Well, anyway,
He keeps going.
Anyway, so I started making like daily content there. You can still find it in my main channel. I was actually, weirdly enough, like sometimes I like to take a trip down memory lane, and I was like watching like my NBA 2K16 videos, and yeah, I mean they were fun, they were cool. I was talking to my fiance Angela. I was talking to her. I was like, it's crazy reading the comment section because it just is like, it's so overwhelmingly positive. Like back then. Like everyone is just like, oh my God, you're gonna blow up. Oh, you're like it's so like, can't believe I just found you. Like, how are you not bigger? Like everyone's like, I love your content so much. Like now, of course, you get plenty of hate. But back then, it was all love. And so I was doing NBA 2K stuff, and then I was like, okay, I want to try this new thing. I had read in Bill Simmons' Book of Basketball. He had this chapter about what ifs, and like I always thought that was like really fascinating. It kind of just like clicked for me, that chapter. It was so interesting. It was like, what if this happens? What is the result for the entire NBA? And so one of the scenarios was, what if Kevin Durant was drafted by the Portland Trailblazers? Like, what happens to the rest of the NBA? And at the time for the book, there had not been many seasons that had already gone on. I think maybe he even like threw that in as like a bonus what if, because it was just too early to talk about it. But regardless, for all of these things, he would like basically write like a page or like 2 pages. Like one was like, what if Carmelo Anthony was taken by the Pistons? And so I was like, okay, what if you did that, but instead of just like hypothetically thinking things through, you go in depth and you take team standings and you look at win shares on Basketball Reference and you change things. And then you're like, okay, well, the Trailblazers, they win like 4 more games with Durant, let's say, but then that means the Sonics, they lose like 5 more games with Greg Oden now instead. And so that means the Sonics now draft like one or two picks up the next draft. And I was like, oh wow, this changes literally everything. And so I went and I just made this my first ever what if video. And it took me like a month. Like I never knew, like now they still take over a month because they're longer, but that was the first one and it wasn't that long, but it took over a month. And luckily there was no one like waiting on content for me there at that point. And so I made this video and it got like 20 or 30,000 views. It got like, maybe let's say like 20,000. And it sat there for like 4 months. And like all my videos were getting like a few thousand views at this point, like maybe like 5,000 ish, like 2K like video, 5K views per 2K video, which was, I thought was pretty good. I was building a following. But then out of nowhere, the algorithm just picked up my what if video and threw it into the algorithm. And I gained like 200, 300,000 views on that video in like 3 days. And I gained like, you know, almost like close to like 10,000 subscribers just from that video. And I was like, oh my God. And everyone was like, yo, do more, do more. And so then I was like, all right, I got to do this. So I spent like another month working on what if Steph Curry went to the Knicks, and that video did even better. And then at this point I was still doing 2K along with NBA videos. And then I tested out. I was like, well, what happens if I do like 7 NBA players that could have been legends? Or what happens if I do like these Michael Jordan conspiracies? And I started testing out other NBA videos, and all of them just crushed. Like they all just popped off. I kept gaining subscribers every single video. Like I would post a video and I would just watch as the line, like the view line would go like this, and then boom, it would just skyrocket. I'd start gaining subscribers. And so eventually, like it just made sense, and people were telling me, they were like, stop doing 2K, just do NBA on this channel. And so I did. Then I made my second channel about 2K. But yeah, that was it. I went from 2K to, I just got this idea for a what if once, and like I did it, and then I realized I actually, like, I had a moment of realization at one point where I was like, there is nobody doing like NBA style videos of like where like the 7 players that like could have been NBA legends or like anything like that. Like the most basic of NBA video content back then was just not being done. Like none of it had been done. Like there was no what Len Bias, like the NBA superstar that could have been. There was nothing. And so when I first started out, like I had just infinite video ideas in front of me, and it was sick. And now it's so much harder because there's so many people that do it, and people, basically all the ideas are, you got to get super creative nowadays. But back then was the golden era. That was back when you could just think of literally anything, like 7 teams that could have won a championship, and that would get 1 million views because even though it was so basic, no one had done it.
I remember like looking at that, at those what ifs. The thing that like blew me away the most was you had this remarkable talent in world building, which is something that like not even a lot of cinematographers get it right. Like I see it in the MCU, they do a remarkable job with world building. I saw it in the old Star Wars movies. Like they created a wonderful, like an awesome world with a ton of depth. But like if you look at the DCU, like they're struggling with that right now. And in each of these what if scenarios, you created your own unique world. And it kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones in a sense, because in the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones, like the author was notorious for like obsessing over each and every detail, you know, like, yeah. So, and I felt like you did that in those early what ifs, which I personally really love that content.
I'm doing one right now, and I'm doing what if Kobe went to college, and I've gotten about over halfway, like 3/5 way through planning it. It's so long to plan it. There are so many changes already, but yeah, it's cool. I'm trying to make this though into a 3-part series so I could go more in depth with the like world building, because when you make it just one episode, you really like, I mean, before, I don't know about now, maybe I could just release like an hour one, but I used to be like, okay, I've got to cap it at 30 minutes, which now I'd be like, oh, 45 minutes, like great. But I would try to cap it at like 30 minutes, and you like end up going like, fast forwarding through a lot of stuff. But so you miss out on like some like cool teams that like would be like, the number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference that are just like a cool, exciting team. Like, let's see. I don't know. There's some interesting things that go down. I'm looking at the 2005 draft right now. We've got Darren Williams going to the Denver Nuggets, Chris Paul to the Charlotte Bobcats. things go down.
You've been working on this for a while. I remember you bringing this up during one of our mock podcasts even.
Yeah, I've been trying to go slower on it because if you just try to go all in at once, it just consumes you and just ruins you, basically.
Mad respect.
How about you guys? Reverse come-up stories.
I think Coop and my story would take like 20 minutes plus, and I want to make sure we get everything in it.
I don't want a 40-minute segment on us telling stories.
And also there's so much I have to write notes because Coop introduced, we had this group where it was me, Coop, Flight, Shakedown 2012. We eventually met Cash Nasty before he blew up. Coop introduced me to LNU. We were in the Madden community, the 2K community. I quit YouTube. It's a very
basically
dense
everybody
story.
Mike knew early on. I'm pretty sure I introduced him to.
Yeah, most definitely. Coop would meet people and he would introduce me to them. And there's this trend. It's well, these guys seem to like Mike, and and we're really helping each other grow. So I think we're going on. I've known Coop for about 11 years now. And
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, we're doing it. We're doing it.
We're giving a preview. We're giving a preview. If you want, we could discuss the first NBA game. I could discuss my first NBA game I've ever attended, which was in 2010. It was the Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. I don't know if it was 2010 or 2011, but I remember really wanting to see Kobe Bryant play, but Kobe Bryant was injured at the time. And it was my first game. The Lakers went on. The one moment I remember is the Lakers were down by 12 or and they went on this 10-0 scoring run. And being in the crowd when the Lakers were playing the Celtics and the Lakers were going on a scoring run, hearing the crowd's energy when the Lakers would go on a scoring run, it was my dad's first game too. It was my first game with my dad. My dad was wow, this is exhilarating, and I was yeah, this is incredible. And ever since then, it definitely made me a significantly bigger fan. And I only got the opportunity to watch Kobe Bryant play once post Achilles tear. It was my ex-girlfriend's birthday present to me. I did break down crying in the Uber on the way there.
Because she broke up with you?
No, I broke down crying on the way there.
I know.
Did she break up with me? No.
No. I'm just kidding. You said ex-girlfriend, then you said crying. I was joking.
Flew over my head. The breakup was a little publicized at the time. Was it? Yeah, dude. The way we broke up was dude, Los was there, Shake and Bake was there, Toke Nasty was there, Cash Nasty was there. Cash Nasty and Ash were comforting me. It was nuts. Now that I reflect upon it, it was a pretty wild time. It was fairly publicized, but that was 10 months later. But yeah, that's my first game.
I'm sorry. That was funny that you just told that whole breakup part and then go, but yeah, that was my first game.
You know what? Missed my invite to that one. Sheesh.
You were invited. To Atlantic City.
That's a lie.
It was with the Nasty Breaks crew.
Bro, I was invited, but my invite never came through.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. It was nasty. I'm not sure I would have went anyways, but hypothetically, I wanted to be there.
Yeah. That in of itself is
that was a
awesome
wild
story.
time. That was a wild time.
I want, if you guys are guys, if you made it to this point of the pod and you're watching on YouTube, just comment down below what story you want to hear from us next. We gave you some teasers here. We wanted limited to 1 to 2 per pod, so we could talk more about basketball and occasionally mention ourselves. But let us know.
Do we have more basketball to talk about?
We do, actually. There is Luka Doncic's flagrant foul again. And before we even got on the pod, guys, bear in mind, Korzemba He's been MIA. He's been like a little sick from that second vaccine shot. So the first thing he says when like he looked at our like list of topics is, wait, Luka Doncic got another flagrant foul? Is this like a different flagrant foul, or like is it in addition to those other flagrant fouls? So
what the? All right, I just watched it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, guys, I've been sleeping so much, like literally just sleeping. This like the second shot made me so tired for days. But
load managing for the playoffs, huh?
Yeah, I'm load managing for the playoffs. Honestly, it makes perfect sense. All right, I don't know what this Luka thing is. It literally looks so clear that he hits him on purpose. I don't know what you guys think, but he just smacked him.
Did you see the interview after? The interview after was hysterical. Like, he literally comes out after getting caught in 4K saying, after I saw the video, I knew I hit him. But it wasn't anything on purpose. It's like, and then he goes like, yeah, I think that kind of stuff happens a lot in games, but I don't know, that's my explanation. It clearly wasn't on purpose, obviously. It was just two guys fighting for a rebound, I guess.
Dude, Luka is getting into that, like, all right, well, I mean, I don't want to... Luka, what territory is he getting into? Rasheed Wallace territory? Like, the man is he currently leading the NBA in techs or second? Because he's either like, first or second.
Yeah, let's take a look. Because I think he was last time we checked. Yeah, he currently is tied for first place with Dwight Howard.
Yeah, and so I don't know, like, what's happening right now. He himself has said that he needs to calm down. He himself has been like, yeah, I need to stop whining to the officials and just play basketball. But it's definitely not a great look what he's doing. He's definitely developing a reputation of a whiner. And you could tell the refs are getting fed up with it. You could tell the refs are getting fed up with it with the quick tees that he's getting now. You know, they're just over it. Like, you saw that technical foul the other day where it just looked like he was, walking back to the bench and he got a technical and it looked kind of just ridiculous. But like, everything leading up to that is what led up to the technical. Like, the probably nonstop complaining. The man, like, sometimes you see the classic him just holding his arms up looking for a call, doesn't run right back on defense. Like he's still such a young player that it could just go one of two ways going forward in the next few seasons. It could get worse and like this could be who he is, or he could use this year as like a learning experience of like, this doesn't help your team win basketball games. You don't want to be that guy. Stop being that guy. Because I know for a fact, I mean, whenever I had a teammate act like this, like, yeah, sometimes, there's guys like, sometimes a guy saying a certain thing to a ref when it's justified and you're like, oh, this guy has my back. Like, he's getting a tech, but he has my back. But like when you have a guy with like Luka where it's just straight up just complaining and whining, like, I don't think that helps team chemistry at all. I think these guys are probably like, dude, get back on defense. Come on, let's play. You're costing us points on technical fouls. Like, I'd be annoyed by it personally.
Well, I think some of his actions are, I mean, he's young. He's got time to improve. I think he ultimately will improve. But I think, maybe there's some frustration with how the Mavs have been performing overall this season.
They're on a 4-game win streak.
Yeah. But, when you're Luka Doncic, like, you really, like, expect greatness. What are they? Are they the 5th seed right now? The 6th seed?
Currently 5th seed,
The thing is, like,
that's not too bad, but...
He was saying this early on when they were losing more, but, like, his actions just have not changed throughout the season, no matter what, if they're winning, if they're losing, or whatever. It just seems like right now, he's just stuck in this, like I deserve every call kind of mentality, and he, like, lets the refs know it.
He's got LeBron syndrome.
LeBron syndrome?
I mean, you said it, not us.
What is? I don't even want to know what that is, honestly.
I mean,
like, you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah, you're a Lakers fan throwing LeBron.
I'm a Laker fan, but you also have to, you need to understand, I'm a Laker fan, but
you're a LeBron hater.
I'm not a LeBron hater, but like, I wasn't a LeBron fan before he came to the Lakers. So like, I do acknowledge some of the things he does, and I understand why he does it. Like, complaining about every call gets him more calls. I get that. Not a big fan of it, but I guess that's what Luka Doncic is trying to do. And I guess it's one of those things that, like, as time goes on, he'll get a little bit more respect. But for now,
You know what? Thinking about what you just said, I actually wish Zion would do this. Like, Zion gets hacked so many times. He gets hit so many times. But since he never complains, I feel like he never
Dude,
gets
that's what happened with Derrick Rose, too. When Derrick Rose, like, I don't know about now. I mean, he still probably, like, keeps his mouth shut. But when Derrick Rose was in his prime, that was one of his, or not even his prime. When Derrick Rose was 21 or 22, you know, one of the biggest things was he didn't get enough free throws because he wouldn't complain.
That will lead to injury. That will lead to injury.
Go in there, get smacked, and he just wouldn't complain. He just get back up. So, yeah, I don't know. Is this just like kind of one of those situations where it's like Luka? I mean, well, Luka's getting teed up though at a much higher rate than most players that complain all the time get, because you see like the Lakers, the Clippers, you know, like when these teams are playing, like everyone's complaining all the time.
Yeah.
So Luka must be going extra with it.
But
yeah, and you know, reputation's a big thing in the NBA. Like,
yeah.
Here's the thing though. Like,
I guess he hasn't earned the respect of LeBron complaining wise. Like if LeBron and Luka complain at the same level right now, Luka's getting the tease and LeBron is chilling, getting the very occasional one. But Luka's getting teed up left and right now.
have you watched Patrick Beverley play defense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really handsy, right? But gets away with a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's that
It's
reputation.
It's true. Yeah. Luka hasn't, I guess he hasn't earned it with the refs yet. So.
And here's the thing about Zion and like comparing him to Derrick Rose and comparing him to LeBron. Zion's a big freaking dude. LeBron was also a huge freaking dude. So whenever they would get fouled, like when you see a behemoth of a man like Zion and like LeBron, it's not as easy to determine that they got fouled. Did you say something, Coop?
Oh, no. We were just talking about big people. Just kind of threw myself in there.
He said Zion, LeBron, Coop.
I can't with this guy, bro.
No, you got to see me at LA Fitness, man. If I call a foul, like, everybody loses their mind. Like, I can't call fouls because I'm tall. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm in the JJ Barea class. I can get any foul call.
Yeah,
Nice,
you know, I don't want to brag.
It must be nice. No, you know what? I'll trade for you in heights.
I don't want to brag, but you know, I'm kind of like in a Russell Westbrook type of class. You know, kind of like with the
Chuck
Steph Curry.
Hayes.
Chuck
Hayes
wait,
right
what?
there. Chuck Hayes.
Mike, I've seen your game tape. You're
Quincy
in that,
AC.
There was only one
Mike.
game.
Your game tape plays as a guy who plays football that doesn't know how to play defense.
Della Vadova, but with like Chuck Hayes skill set.
Your game tape plays as fouls.
So
You're a big body though. We need that. When we go hooping, we should all go I don't know. Hopefully the podcast gets big enough. We go take over a court.
Yeah,
and
we run threes. Or
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if we ran threes, I mean we'd be solid. I just gotta get my shot back. We'd be crushing.
That's what we need. Mike needs to be our board getter. 100%. Gotta be
Oh no, if he's our Tony Allen.
Tony Allen. Well, what about Jayshawn Tate?
how did we get here? Why are we making comparisons of my actual
Because
basketball?
we're manifesting what we want. We want to be winning 3v3 basketball tournaments.
Seriously.
Okay. Hold on. Back
What
to
if one
Luka.
day the podcast held like a 3v3 tournament and
Let's-
like imagine we weren't ready.
Oh,
That's what
that'd
I'm
be
saying.
tough.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Could we talk about anything else besides my IRL basketball skill
All right,
set?
so how'd you and your ex-girlfriend break up?
Bro!
Was it because you were bad at basketball?
Yeah.
Yes! Yes, it was. Damn, you guys came in here. You're like, you guys came in here with the haymakers today. So you remember last week how we were talking about potential chemistry problems with Luka and Kristaps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kristaps came and commented on it today. So if you remember, Mark Cuban, like 2 weeks ago, said that on the court, Kristaps and Luka are fine, but off the court, they don't really hang out with each other. And he also mentioned that they have dust-ups here and there, And he compared it to Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki not being best friends at the beginning, but they grew to like each other and grew to be great friends. And that's just part of the process when you've got young kids who are growing up. So Kristaps came out today and said that I've never had any problems with my teammates off of the court. I've always gotten along very well with them. I don't know what Mark Cuban was talking about. I try to be as professional as possible, do what I have to do, and be a soldier for the team.
Kristaps is mad. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Kristaps did not like that comment from Cuban, and I think we got a good old-fashioned mess on our hands.
Yeah, maybe. You know what? Honestly, that's Porzingis being like, yo, Cubes, shut up, dude. What are you saying? Like, why are you airing our dirty laundry, if anything, you know? Which is actually a pretty interesting question. Why is Mark Cuban saying this? Like,
I don't know.
You know, this kind of came out of nowhere. Like, he created his own news story. Like, I remember headed into this, no one, like, yeah, like, was there maybe the possibility of some bad blood there? Sure. No one had vocalized it, though. No one was, like, really saying it. And then the Mavericks owner comes out and says straight up, like, yeah, there's bad blood there. Yeah, they might hate each other. We'll see what happens.
I used to like Mark Cuban a lot, but he's been souring on me, like, hard, bro.
Why? What else?
I think, yeah, go ahead, Coop.
Well, I mean, have you guys seen Shark Tank?
You're like, dude, some of these investments he's passing up on, ludicrous. Like, literally crazy.
That could be Flanderization, though. Like, they are so deep in Shark Tank that, like, Kevin O'Leary is known as Mr. Wonderful. Mark Cuban's
I hate that name.
Yeah.
I think it took him like a good 3 seconds to come up with that name. But
yeah,
a good 3 seconds.
And he's just doubled down on it. Like,
it's like, I need a nickname. Hurt the dirt. Let me call myself Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful.
You gave him 3 seconds though.
That was bad.
You know, like what's her name? Not Barbara, but the other woman,
Diane.
The one that always talks about QVC. I keep forgetting her name, but
Barbara.
She's known to be a little bit more compassionate, and that could just be Flanderization. I think Mark Cuban's doing one of two things here. Either one, he wants to like stir up some drama just so he could get the Dallas Mavericks in the media a bit more, which could always be a possibility. Because
that would make no sense to me, because he's literally he's hurting trade value here potentially. He's making his team like look like they're like, you know, things are not like all great. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand. My only thing that he could possibly be doing is trying to get them together and try to publicly say, hey, there's a problem, and put pressure on them working on a solution. I guess. I
like the optimism. I think Cuban, I don't really want to say this, but I'm just going to say it. He's been complaining a lot, and I feel like over the years it feels like he complains about more and more. Now, that's not to say he hasn't done some great things, because we've seen what he's done with Delonte West. I thought that was a really dope situation. I thought it was really cool to see Delonte West getting back on his feet. But when it comes to Cuban, I don't know. I get this feeling of somebody that's like kind of full of themselves, and I think that may be where kind of like that Kristaps comment stemmed from, to where like, oh, well, I'm Mark Cuban, I can do no wrong. I'm going to say this about this, and it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Very possible. I mean, he's a freaking billionaire. Like, he definitely gives off the vibe that he's full of himself. I mean, pretty justified, I guess, based on the successes in his life, but I mean, this is also a man that possibly might be running for president one day.
I didn't see that.
They put him. It's been a rumor for a while, and they put him under a lie detector test with one of the Shark Tank guys. They asked him, "Are you running for president?" And he said yes.
He won't get my vote.
I think he's like just a very outspoken guy naturally, who's always been like mired in controversy. Like, even the way he made his $1 billion was very, if you like watch, it's a little scummy, kind of inspirational, but a little scummy.
Man,
but
I hate to cut you off, but he also, I don't even know if I want to I probably shouldn't bring this up. Yeah, we should probably just keep talking.
Just bring it up.
Bring it up.
There was a quote, I think, on the Trayvon Martin situation where Mark Cuban just had just this wild quote, and he was like, I've been trying to get a little bit better, which kudos to him, trying to improve. But he was like, I'm definitely somebody that has kind of given in the stereotypes. He's like, if I see a black guy walking down the street in a hoodie, I'm gonna walk the other way. The same as if I see a white guy that's bald with a bunch of tattoos, I'm going to walk the other way. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but this is something he actually said.
The exact quote is, I mean, we're all prejudiced in one way or another. If I see a black kid in a hoodie and it's late at night, I'm walking to the other side of the street. And if on that side of the street there's a guy that has tattoos all over his face, white guy, bald head, tattoos everywhere, I'm walking back to the other side of the street. And the list goes on of stereotypes that we all live up to and are fearful of. So in my business, I try not to be hypocritical. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I live in a glass house, and it's not appropriate for me to throw stones.
I don't know. I think that was a really poor quote, especially given the time. That's kind of on the defense of everything that went down, why would you say that at that point in time?
Also, what Coop was just saying there was just the fact that he was somewhat justifying the whole Trayvon Martin, what happened, because he was like, black kid in a hoodie, that would cause me alarm enough to cross the street, aka black kid in a hoodie, that would give him a sense of danger. So that's what Coop was saying, where it was he's justifying it in a way.
Yeah.
That's definitely a strange time to speak and say those words. Definitely.
Well, it was 2014. I guess at the end of the day, he is very open with the media, and that there's some things that he shouldn't say.
Should we transition to our final thing of words that shouldn't be said? The king of those, which would be Mr. Jake Paul.
Dude, this is probably, I make a lot of content, and this is probably the most legendary video I made in the past week.
One, how many views is that video at, a milli?
On my third channel, TheFlightMike TV, it's at 550,000.
Oh my
god.
Yo,
and dude, it's nuts, because it's literally just Jake Paul saying na 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 na, I got your hat. It's hilarious, but the entire story is like this. It's so bizarre. So Jake Paul, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather meet up with each other so they could hype up their upcoming boxing event. So while this is happening, Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather meet, cross paths, and they have a face-to-face, and they start talking mess to each other.
Wait. First of all, during the Logan and Floyd Mayweather thing, Floyd said straight up that he could take both of them in the same night. He said he could beat them both up in the same night. He would box them both.
Wow. I believe it.
No, that was what caused all of this. Literally, Jake approaches Floyd and goes, "So you think that you could beat me and my brother in the same night?" Those were the first words that he says.
Oh, all right. I didn't even know that, to be honest.
Yeah, I randomly watched Floyd and Logan's back to back, where there were some comments going back and forth, and Floyd was not holding back with his words. Floyd was made a Japan comment at Logan, and then Logan made it comment that was I don't know, what's Floyd, 50-0 or whatever. He was yeah, Floyd's really 51-0, no one counts the beating that his wife took. Those were the comments that were being made. And so then Floyd started getting it was they were not holding back with the words they were saying, but what was weird was there was no moderator up there. They were just standing and walking around each other. And then Floyd was yeah, you're just a fake fighter. You're just a fake fighter or a YouTube fighter. He's we got two fake fighters in the same family. He's I could take you both on the same night. He's I'm telling you right now, I could take you both in the same night. And then suddenly they're both actually mad. They're that got to Logan and to Jake. They both were like, all right, well, guess what? Like, if you could take us both at the same night, then let's do it. And so then fast forward to Jake, going right to Floyd Mayweather's face afterwards. And Jake walks up and he goes, hey, so yeah, you said you could fight us both. He goes, all right, then where's the contract? Let's fight. I'm down. And so then, then continue on, Mike, because that's what set the stage on.
So eventually Jake Paul meets with Floyd Mayweather backstage or something, and they start talking. They say what you were saying, how, like, I guess Jake Paul was saying, you think you could take me and my brother on? And it gets to it gets to a point where, like, Floyd Mayweather is getting juiced up, and eventually, like, Jake Paul, like, grabs his hat, he's like, got your hat, and then, like, tries to run away.
In, like, the most childish way you could ever say. He's like, haha, got your hat.
Literally, that's what it was. And it was so funny, because, like, the next scene is Floyd Mayweather, like, is running around, like, screaming, like, don't you dare disrespect me, and, like, starts chasing Jake Paul. He, like, rips his shirt, gets some punches in. And here's the best part, at least in my opinion, I think this is my favorite part of the whole thing. Literally, like, 30 minutes later, Jake Paul drops Gotcha Hat merch on his Twitter. So
yeah, which also, it makes it kind of like how planned was this?
I mean, dude, you could look at it as lame. I think he's in terms of entrepreneurship.
No, I didn't say lame. I said how planned. He had the Got Your Hat merch, like, ready to go so fast.
So, yeah,
like a little too fast, I would say. Like, I know, like, you could get, like, words onto a hat somewhat fast, but, like, for him to just get that up there that quickly.
For one, this guy is, like, such an aggressive bag getter. Like, I can't believe he gets the bag to, like, this extent. He's fighting Floyd Mayweather. Like, he didn't need to give us any more reason to watch the fight, and yet here he is.
No, it's his brother, though.
His brother's fighting Floyd Mayweather. Logan's fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, we still didn't need any more reason to watch this fight. Like,
Jake's out here. Yeah, Jake's promoting for Logan, honestly.
It's like, first of all,
but you know why Floyd was so mad? Like, Floyd had recently gotten the hair surgery done or whatever, and so his hair didn't look fully
that's
right.
not his natural hair. That's
crazy. Yeah, and so he was wearing a hat.
Fooled me.
And he took his hair, like, he didn't want to show his hair. That's why he's probably
that's dirty.
So much more angry than he would have been. Like, he probably would have been mad, but, like, imagine, like, you know,
that's
he's like, I don't want the public to see my hair right now. I'm wearing a hat, and then boom, hat gets taken off. That's why Jake was aiming for the hat from the beginning. Jake said in an Instagram story beforehand, he's like, I'm gonna take Floyd Mayweather's hat, because he did a TikTok where he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take Floyd's hat. Let's see what happens, and then he takes it, and of course, like, he ends up, you know, like, beat up or whatever. But he goes, well, got the hat. But yeah, that was why Jake was aiming for the hat. Like, he was aiming for it because he knew that Floyd didn't want the world to see his haircut, like, how his hair looked. He got some, like, kind of surgery or some kind of thing. And so Floyd was obviously, you know, insecure about that, I would say, like, as anyone would be. Like, you know, you just got, like, some kind of surgery, hair surgery, you're wearing a hat, you don't want the world to see it, and Jake Paul walks up to you and goes, haha, got your hat.
And, like,
runs
dude,
away.
He ran away with the gotcha.
He literally ran.
Like, it's so funny. If you go on his Twitter, like, the first thing you see is limited team Paul dropout now, gotcha hats.
Yeah, the bag getting from Jake Paul is absurd. Like, this man,
crazy.
Like, he makes $10 million, like, fighting, and then just, like, weeks later, he just immediately is promoting this, like, hat, this got your hat, whatever thing that's gonna make him what, like, a few thousand? Who even knows? But he just is missing a chance.
Quick question. How much would we have to pay you to snatch Floyd Mayweather's hat? How much money would you have to get?
I would do it for free.
Yeah. I don't believe you.
I would like if TheFlightMike had like the name that like Jake Paul did, like, or if people knew who I was to the point where like if I did it, they'd be like,
oh, of course.
You know,
No, but he's
course.
asking just you.
He
right
trended.
now.
He trended on Twitter. He ran a merch campaign. Like, I want to know. There's no freaking way that Jake Paul is coming up with all these ideas on his own. Like, he's been in the public eye so much over the past 2.5 weeks, like with the fight against Ben Askren. And then he had this like beef, like he showed up to the UFC event after that. He gets into Daniel Cormier's face and like he made him look silly because Daniel Cormier said prior that if he ever saw Jake Paul, he was going to punch him. There's literally a video of them like talking to each other face to face and Daniel Cormier is getting heated. Then Dana White, the like founder of the UFC or the current controlling owner of the UFC, like disses Jake Paul's fighting. And Jake Paul gets into a little rivalry with Dana White because he says Dana White underpays his fighters. And he even just tweeted out 3 hours ago, Dana White pays his ring girls more than his fighters. And like, it's just like this revolving door of consistently grabbing headlines, staying in the public eye, and consistent bag getting to the point where he moved to Puerto Rico, by the way, recently. He's not even giving the government his money. Like, he's making sure that he keeps it all to himself. There's no way he's making all these decisions.
You don't have to pay taxes in Puerto Rico? What's going on here?
It's like 4% federal income tax. No state income tax.
What?
Yeah, he's saving like he's saving like $500,000 per $1 million he earns.
What? That's factual.
Wait, so we should all move to Puerto Rico?
Dude, I tweeted it out yesterday.
Bro,
YouTube
Puerto
house
Rico
in Puerto
is
Rico.
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, it's like, especially like being me, I live in California. I don't want to get into a conversation about taxes, but there's no way that like this guy is making all these decisions. Someone has to be in his ear telling him what to do because it's like marketing brilliance at this point.
Well, we'll see what happens. I can't wait to actually see their fights and immediately react to them because.
Are you gonna buy their fights?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy their fights. No,
You're not going to pirate
I'll buy them.
the
I'll
fights.
buy them. I'll buy them. I'm not trying to get someone coming at me.
Yeah, that was 4K right there. I'll buy.
I was like trying to set him up for failure. You see that?
4K.
For those of you guys that don't know, H3H3 is being sued by Triller Productions, the boxing promoter, for admitting on his podcast that he pirated the Ben Askren fight. So
yeah, which is why I'm gonna buy and I'm gonna take a nice screenshot at this point because now I'm afraid of getting caught in 4K.
Do you guys have anything else to say?
Nope. Hopefully I'll be at full health next time. This was my Michael Jordan flu game pod.
Same.
You feel like you dropped 4. How much did Jordan score during the flu game?
All right, you know what? It wasn't my Michael Jordan flu game pod. It was my Michael Jordan.
He was hungover that game, by the way.
Michael Jordan.
I didn't drop 40.
I
don't like the attack though.
You didn't score 38.
I didn't score 38.
You didn't score 38. You were kind of giving me Camp Bazemore vibes, but
oh my god! All right, bye guys.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.